It's Sunday, and as usual, we're here with the European Ham Radio Show, and YouTube gave me a notification now as well, but not for my own video this time, for Ham Radio DX. So I guess I'm not popular enough among myself to get the notifications anymore.
But you never watch yourself. That's the problem.
I think I'm the only guy that's watched all of my videos, actually, and not only once. And we got a guest here today. Louis, welcome.
Good evening. Good afternoon.
Evening, afternoon, wherever you're in the world. And happy you could join us. And we're going to hear a little bit about number stations a little bit further on in the show, I hope. But first, let's do our ham radio weeks. And any takers, or I'm just going to say, Kjetil's not here today, in case you didn't notice. But he'll hopefully be back next Sunday. But who want to start their ham radio week? Walt?
Mine was horrible. I didn't do. I've been working a lot of hours. Didn't do much. This morning, I made my first QSO on the Yaesu FT891. That's how long it's taken me. I hooked it up like 10 days ago. I finally fired it up and used it. I've just been so busy with work and everything's been going on. And my first QSO was to Australia. It was a VK QSO. Of course, it was 4 a.m. here, so I didn't have any other Americans. They were all asleep, to deal with. So I just right through the pile up and made that. So kind of did that. Like I said, it's been so bloody hot here. It's been miserable. So getting out portable has just been unheard of. So I haven't done much with that. And so working and working. That was my ham radio week.
Yeah, but there's something though. And for first QSO on the radio, that's not half bad though.
Yeah, it's just that time of year. This is my least favorite time of the year here when it's so hot.
But it'll get better, Walt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. Walt's coming.
Bob, did you make any notes this week about your ham radio week?
No, but I think I can remember them. I have no idea why. I find that slightly disconcerting, but let's try. I took my son to Cyprus. We went there for a week, and I managed to activate the premiere activation of 2 parks in Cyprus. There aren't that many. I think I even logged them and uploaded, which is
amazing
for me. Yeah. And getting back, I was restless because, basically going swimming and walking about in the sun for a while. That's really not for me. So I've done 2 summits, one yesterday in Monterey. Pretty all right radio week wise. Yeah. I think I was 20 meters, all of it, mostly digital from the island with a 2.5 or 5 watts from the 817, and but I got I think 30 contacts yesterday and 20 today on 20 meters from the small mountaintops that I went to. So nice conditions on 20 meters, at least from where I was sitting. That's about my radio week.
But that's not half bad though. And did you notice any changes in propagation patterns from Norway to Cyprus?
I probably would have if I brought the same radio, but it was just miserable with the very little effect from that radio. I'm spoiled rotten from the 8991. Having 100 watts at the push of a PTT, that's just a complete game changer as opposed to the QRP things. You'll discover this, Walt, when you start using that radio. It's it's great fun.
So you're not sold on the idea of QRP yet?
I think it's a fun challenge, but I don't want to challenge in 35 degrees Celsius and high humidity. That's I can do that in the 20 degrees or in my basement. That's much more for me, I think.
I've been getting hate mail. They're going to kick me out of the QRP Power Hater Club. They're now that I'm using a 100-watt radio. I really have guys like, what are you doing?
And you're also going to get kicked out of the Saigo Club.
Ooh.
Yeah. You've upset everybody now, with that purchase.
So, Lewis, your ham radio week, or should we say your CB week, since
Yeah.
you've been releasing a lot of CB videos lately.
Yeah, so I let the side down. So I was in Portugal last week, and all I had with me was just a shortwave radio, the XH Data D808. That was, I've not got it to hand, but that was all I had with me. And did some listening for a couple of the number stations and the buzzer and things like that. And yeah, it didn't seem to get over to Portugal as well. Considering it's only about 1,000 miles south in a straight line from where I am, it didn't get over there too well. And then while I was away, because you have time in the sun sunbathing to look on eBay and things, I bought the Thunderpole, the new CB that came out. So I've been having some fun with this, making a few contacts, and I also picked up this wire antenna as well, which works quite well. So yeah, so my week in amateur radio was actually mainly CB radio, and yeah, I can't think of anything else I've done really. Just getting used to the Manchester weather again, cloud and rain and cold. So there we go.
We all know that feeling, Lewis. And William asked, what is QRP anyway? And I'm not sure if this is a joke or if it's serious, but it's low power, 10 watts or less.
That depends on which country we're in. We discussed this last week at length.
Yeah.
In Italy, anything below 1,000 watts is QRP.
Yeah. So, Tobias, did you have time for any radio this week?
Yeah, since I announced two videos in last week's live stream, I had to actually do them and cut them, and I managed to do that, and they were doing reasonable well for my small channel. Of course, I had a goof up in one video, but yeah, that's the more popular video now, of course. So the goof up is in, and yeah, the views are climbing. So
that's good. That's good. So that leaves me with my ham radio week. I've done a couple of things. I did Norway's first twofer activation on Parks on the Air on Thursday. Did not make a video of it because it was in a hotel parking lot where two parks intersect. So it was not a good site to to film that. But it was a lot of fun, and bands were bad, so I did it on FD8 anyway. So it wouldn't have been a great video, but I'm going to do a twofer video or two soon. Then I played a lot with the TS440. Figured out that it's really good when it works, and then it needs some repair work probably. So we'll see how that goes. It's a 40-year-old radio almost, so so I was kind of expecting that. And then I got the Quansheng UVK5 in the mail, so a little bit late to the game, but I've been playing a little bit with that. And I guess that's it. Yeah, and I discovered that you can actually put the voice gear on the 7300 on a repeat mode, so you don't have to push the button all the time if no one gets back to your CQ. That was kind of a game changer when trying to call CQ. And I guess that's it for me. But on to today's guest, Lewis. You have kind of, I don't know how to classify your channel though, because you do a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
But you do everything really well. And you've done a lot of number stations videos lately, and that is really interesting. So perhaps you want to tell the viewers a little bit about that?
Yeah. So yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Really, my channel's just anything radio. It varies from depending on what sort of mood I'm in, what video I want to create. But yeah, the number stations really started late last year, and people just seemed to enjoy it. And it was one of those topics I knew a little bit about, but not a lot. So it's been a learning curve for me and a rabbit hole. And I find with the subject, the more you ask, the more you don't find out. And yeah, it's sort of a learning curve for me, but there's no one really documenting the number stations. So yeah, that's really how it's been, and people seem to enjoy it. So I've been making them.
And what for the people that don't know this, what is a number station?
So a number station, there's sort of a bracket, of an umbrella term for numbers and oddities. So I mentioned the buzzer in the intro, which is a channel marker, but a number station in the simplest term is basically it can start with a musical preamble, and the strings of numbers read in children's voices, female voices, male voices, both live and automated, so synthesized. And they are strings of numbers, or sometimes letters, that form an encoded message. And the messages are intended for spies in the field. And we know this because certain intelligence agencies have had to confirm it in certain high-profile court cases. And they started using what's called a one-time pad, which is basically a cheat sheet to decipher the numbers that both the sender and recipient have, that they use once and then get rid of to decode the message. And nobody has ever managed to decode one of these messages outside the intended recipient ever, which means it's a complete success. So yeah, that's in a nutshell what a number station is. It's a secret message sent for a spy or intelligence operative in the field that can't be deciphered by anybody else, and they're addictive once you start looking at them.
So how do you do your research to find these stations? Is there some kind of online community that helps you along?
So there's information online. There's a few different books. There's a website called Priom, which is Papa Romeo India Yankee Oscar Mike Priom, which is like a repository of information. And then I have all the old newsletters, because basically everything we know has been compiled, or 99% of what we know has been compiled by shortwave listeners. And we know what we know, and we don't know what we don't know. And there's a lot more that we don't know than we do know. So yeah, there's sources online. So yeah, that's the website there. So that's quite a good overview. But yeah, I have quite a few contacts who were involved in the hobby back in the 80s and 90s who give snippets of information and things like that. And yeah, it's really a strange phenomena.
Yeah, and
Cool.
and it's so fascinating because, I mean, most of us, at least us here, started out with shortwave listening, and we've heard these stations, but it's really cool that you go into so much depth on it. But it's going to take a lot of time, Lewis, to compile all of this information and make these videos.
Yeah, it does. I'm usually working on a handful of videos at a time, but yeah, depending on which station. See, some station there's virtually no information online, so I have to look back through sort of printed newsletters, and I keep sort of an archive of that information, and then speak to people that were involved. So yeah, sometimes there's a wealth of information, and sometimes there's not a lot. So yeah, it does take a while, but it's a learning curve for me as well, which is fun.
I think that's what really drew me to your channel to begin with, Lewis, because honestly, you're probably the one YouTuber. Every time something pops up, I absolutely watch it, because I can tell that you do a lot of in-depth research, and I like that a lot. I tell you how I found you. It must have been maybe a couple years ago. You did a video on the FCC hunting down CBers here in Virginia. And it was actually your video was talking about my immediate neighborhood here, like near Virginia Beach area.
Right.
And I was like, oh wow, what a cool video. And I remember you had done some deep research and gone back in historical facts of what happened with the FCC and hunting down CBers or whatever here in Virginia in the United States. And I watched that video, and then so I said that was pretty good. I want to go to his channel, and then I started seeing your other stuff. Right away, I've subscribed, and then I was really the other thing from that point. I went down the rabbit hole of your channel with pirate radio, man. I was like, that's another thing that I just geek out on pirate radio. And, so I'm like, cool. So this dude's cool. You know what I mean? Then about a little over a year ago, when I first got over to Europe, I was over there, and I did a video on listening. One Saturday night, I just got on and listened to the medium wave and some shortwave pirates or whatever. And I was like, listen, these guys are going to look at me and go, this guy's an idiot. Everybody knows. Just go look at Ringway Manchester's channel. He's the one that really. I had to mention you in my video. I was like, hey, I'm only scratching the surface here. If you want to deep dive, go see this guy right here. But yeah, that's what really drew me to your channel, and I think I really love the way you can tell in all your videos that you do some really deep study before you just throw one out there. And I
appreciate that. It's funny you mentioned coming to Europe. Me and Walt are going to set up a pirate station when he comes over, aren't we, Walt?
Absolutely. Hey, if I ever win the American lottery, I'm buying a ship. I'm bringing it up, painting it red. We're going to call it, I don't know, Radio Ringway. Lewis, I'm just going to shell out the pound.
I'm volunteering for that ship. That sounds like fun.
Yeah, count me
in. But I think that's been done some time before, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I talked to Lewis a few weeks ago. I told him on my next trip over to the UK, I want to hook up with him, and we both go out to the Radio Caroline ship. You know how they broadcast?
Definitely.
I want to visit that. I don't know so much about doing it. I would probably. I'm a YouTuber. I'm going to do a video about it, but still, it would be nice to do it. And I said I wanted a subject matter expert with me. Lewis said, I'm not an expert. I was like, okay, well, I still want somebody that understands what's going on in the culture of England. That would be cool.
Yeah, count me in, Walt.
Yeah, but that's the point, though, Walt, because broadcasting culture and not at least the legalities of broadcasting have been traditionally very different on both sides of the Atlantic. Whereas radio,
when I came over a year and a half ago, that I caught the tail end of longwave. Longwave's going away. It really is. So there's 3 longwave stations that I logged and did on the video, but all 3 of them are gone now. You know what I mean? As they're fading away. Mm-hmm. And same with medium wave. Lewis, you did a video about 1215 kilohertz and that was going down. I would get up every morning in Poland as it was still dark, and I was driving to the base from the house I was at, and I would put it on looking for UK radio stations so I could hear my language as I was driving. And it was those stations are going away now too in medium wave.
That's disappearing fast.
Yeah. But like I said, that's really what drew me to your channel, though, because you're. I think you and I, one reason we kind of get like each other and get along there is because we both have that same thing. It's like all radio. I mean, I'm a ham radio guy on my channel, but I'm medium wave DXing and shortwave listening, and I was out with the wife today. I found this thing. It's called the Magic Stick, and it's a gimmick, right? A 9-bell thing. So I've got a little. It's for terrestrial television. I don't know how well or how far along terrestrial TV is still going there in Europe, but
that's here
with digital here. Yeah, so stuff like that. But I enjoyed stuff like that. Like I said, Lewis, you seem to jump topics, and that's a good thing. I think that shows why your channel is so strong. It really is.
Yeah.
I find that quite amazing because I think most YouTubers to get a solid subscriber base, they need to stay on subject. But you've managed to have a whole host of fairly different subjects that you go into, and still you manage. I'm seeing now you're closing in on 100K subscribers. I think that's amazing that you have that width of the repertoire that you're talking about.
Yeah, it takes. I suppose for me, the channel's always done that. So I got to a point where I was mainly doing reviews, and it was I didn't want to do them because it just wasn't interesting. So I thought I'll do some documentaries. So the first few videos just bombed; they did terrible. But I suppose by mixing things up and keep mixing things up, the channel has grown around that. So there's a broad audience. Not everyone likes everything, but I just stick to a few subjects, and I try and do things that nobody else has done as well, which I think is probably important. So yeah, it's hard work, but it's rewarding.
Yeah. So do you YouTube full time, or do you have a job beside your YouTube?
So I have another job, but I YouTube. well, I put a lot of work into YouTube. So yeah, it's it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
It's like another full-time job. It's like a night job.
Yeah, because I mean, you're pumping out videos constantly, every other day or
Yeah,
so.
I try 3 a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah,
takes
that's a job, definitely.
Yeah, and I got to fix my mic boom. So if anyone else want to say something for a little while,
Hey, Lewis, here's a question I wanted to ask you.
Yeah,
It's the because this is I know you're a little younger than me, and a lot of times I see you talk about CB, and it was the era. I mean, I'm 61 years old. I remember CB in the 70s, and you do a great job talking about that. But the later the FM, like the tower block type FM piracy and that type of things. Have you ever like been there, like really there with those guys, like when they were broadcasting? And then you have an amazing knowledge of that type of thing. You know those guys like trying to get anybody in trouble, but you know what I'm saying? Have you?
Yeah.
Is that all from research, or have you been?
So it's all from research and speaking to people, because I'm like 35, so the pirate heyday ended here really in the early 2000s. So I missed those days. But I speak to a lot of people. I mean, the Ofcom, the communications regulator here in the UK, they've rang me in the past and asked me if I'm involved in a certain station. So I think
Admit it, you cheeky bugger.
I've never been involved. I mean, I probably shouldn't say this. I would be if the opportunity arose, but I'm not. I've never been involved in a pirate station, unfortunately.
Well, that's how convincing you are, and that's why I asked you the question. I was like, because you kind of, as a watcher, the watcher of the video, it's like he knows a whole lot about this for a certain reason. I wonder if he really has been there. Done that.
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, that's cool though. We're gonna get that station. Don't worry, Lewis. We're gonna definitely have it.
Yeah. I think that's the reason why the videos are doing so well as well, because you get the feeling that you were in the room when you describe things that went on. It's the storytelling. It's pretty amazing, I think. So I really enjoy these the piracy videos, and
And it doesn't really matter if it's pirate radio or if it's a cordless telephone from the 80s or any weird communications device.
What telephone?
So you seem to do a lot of research, and you got, I mean, your videos look great as well. So I guess that's part of the package why you're growing so much.
Yeah, but I have a question of the future of your channel, because I think there's in the coming weeks and months there's going to be interesting things revolving around TETRA. Have you started looking into or doing anything about that?
So I did a video this week on basically the announcement that came out online. But yeah, I'm going to do some videos relating to TETRA, but I'm just going to watch this space on how that develops. I think I need to do some research on the fundamentals of TETRA. Really, it's not something I'm too well up on at the moment, but yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how certain governments, how quick they are to respond to this backdoor and get it patched, and if it actually can be patched. But I said in the video, I don't think we'll be listening to police or military TETRA anytime soon. So
probably not. But I think it touched on that as well. If people recorded this, have been recording it for years, they might be able to decode it now and listen to it after the fact. That's an interesting prospect.
Yeah, I mean, without saying, I don't know if I should say this. I know, or I've heard that in Manchester, it is somehow being monitored. I don't know whether that's through a stolen handset or something, but that was a rumor I heard. I saw on a post somewhere. So yeah, possibly it's going to be interesting to see how it plays. I think the conference in Las Vegas is next weekend, is it? So be interesting to see if they give out any more details in
because they're meant to, at least. And I know the FBI has stopped talks on that conference before, so it could happen again. But going to be interesting to watch that. Looking forward to it.
But the thing is, though, with stolen handsets, you got to be. I don't know how the handsets are set up in the UK, but I know here, if you remove the battery, you have to set up the handset from scratch again.
Right.
So even though you got a stolen handset, there is some other security measurements in
Yeah,
play.
I mean, I know they can kick them off the network, but there was a story in the UK about 10 years ago where some stolen handsets made it into the hands of radio hobbyists, and it was monitored for I believe about 6 months before anyone was made aware of it. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I know that the people involved were taken to court and things like that, but yeah, it's interesting, really interesting.
Yeah. And I see that William comments here that there was a radio that could have decoded Tetra in 2008. And I actually don't know anything about that claim. I don't know if you guys know anything about that.
No, I don't know anything.
Wow.
And Walt, do you know what Tetra is, by the way?
A little. I'm kind of ignorant on it. I've been watching and listening, whatever. I know it's kind of like something similar we have here in the States. It's like a decoded. It's almost like digital type.
Yeah, it is a trunk radio network
Yeah.
for public service, and it's
Yeah.
it's a standardized network. Stands for terrestrial trunk radio, I think. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's. I mean, the system used here in the UK is called Airwave, and that is sort of, it's a hybrid between a digital radio and a mobile phone. So the police are actually billed by the second. So every second of talk time is billed. I'm not sure what but the Home Office in the UK have been trying to get rid of it for a number of years now. But the move to cellular isn't where it needs to be. So there was trials and range testing involved in using a cellular system, and the companies involved went back to the Home Office and said it won't work. So what the government did about 3 years ago was go and order something like, I think, 2,000 more Tetra radios. So everyone keeps saying the jump to they call it ESN, Emergency Services Network. I think it's a while off, and I think it'll be a while off for many countries yet.
Yeah, it's still on the drawing board here. So I think Tetra is going to stay in Norway for at least the next decade. And there's so much money invested in infrastructure around it.
Well, they said, I think in the UK, they said they needed something like 2,000 more mobile phone masts, and the cell companies can't guarantee the Home Office the priority over normal mobile phone customers. So yeah, it's quite. I think it's a way off.
And then until you put a new system in use, you got to make sure that everything works all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which kind of wasn't the story with Tetra here. When Tetra was released here, it did not work everywhere in Norway. So,
no. I mean, there was. I don't know if you guys had it where you were. There was. It brought along the whole sort of similar conspiracies to the whole 5G cancer thing. So everyone was scared that Tetra airwave caused cancer and all sorts over here. There was people sleeping in foil-lined cages and tearing down masts, and there's websites that document it all. It was like the 5G conspiracy now, but with Tetra back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, but I think that crowd is kind of right now. Yeah, I think that crowd's kind of scared of anything RF though, whether it be smart power meters, 5G, Tetra, or anything.
I think it's important to keep them occupied with just one thing at a time. It makes it easier for the rest of us. So that's good. I don't know if I told the rest of you. I needed to say this for Lewis. I think there's a fairly big overlap of these conspiracy theorists and flat earthers. I have what I think is a fantastic idea for a TV show, which is invite 12 flat earthers and hook them up with all sorts of expeditionary equipment. And the title of the show is going to be Find the Edge. Yeah. I think that would be
too much, because the TV company will snap that up.
But the thing about flat earthers, and well, actually, I'm amazed that there are ham radio operators that are flat earthers. I don't really see how
are they on HF? That's the question. Or are they only doing?
That's only VHF and up.
Yeah, exactly.
But still on VHF, UHF, they'd be able to go much further distances on a flat Earth. So
Yeah, true.
It's scary.
So,
we have a here in the States, we have it's a syndicated nighttime radio program. It's on medium wave. It's really great. It's called Coast to Coast AM, and every night it's on like from midnight till 5 in the morning. And
Is
I
that
wake
what
up
Art
really
Bell
early.
used to do? Did Art Bell used to do
Who's
that
that?
many years ago? Did
Oh,
Art
yeah,
Bell?
yeah, it's Art
Yeah,
yeah. So it's George Norrie now is taking over for Art Bell. But what's so funny is on Saturday nights they play. It's called Somewhere in Time, and they play an old Art Bell episode. Like last night, in the beside the bed, my wife and I have an AM radio or a medium wave radio, so we go to bed on Saturday nights, usually with a few glasses of wine or whatever in us, and you lay down and we listen to Art Bell Somewhere in Time, you know. But I love it that it's still. I think that little syndicated thing there and the conspiracy theorists that they bring on the other night or whatever, it's kind of what it makes radio exciting. It really does with them.
The best one was the Glenn Campbell Area 51 episode with Art Bell. There was some interesting callers, and you try and picture in your mind what these people look like and where they live. It's scary.
the scary thing is though, they look like normal people most of the time.
Yeah.
Art Bell was a ham too. There's some videos out on YouTube of some guys that have captured pile-ups, rag chews or whatever with Art Bell operating. It's pretty cool. I can't remember. But
he was in Pahrump, wasn't he? Is it Nevada?
Yeah, he was out. Yeah, in Nevada, near Area 51, I think for sure. Yeah, what a great dude. He passed away. He passed away. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away maybe 8 or 9 years ago, I think.
2018. I had never heard of him before, so I looked him up on Wikipedia. 2018.
So for the other guy, and probably the third guy down here who's never heard of him, who was Art Bell?
Should I read from Wikipedia?
Yeah.
Or perhaps Walt could answer that question.
I think Walt should do that. I'm dyslexic, so I should not read out loud. Go ahead, Walt.
Who is Art Bell?
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that the question?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, he was a famous American radio host that basically hosted. It started out with before it was Coast to Coast. It was I think it was called like Dreamtime Radio or whatever. But he was always overnight and nationally syndicated. It would always host conspiracy theories, and stuff like that. Just kind of weird stuff. Martians, UFOs, all that. You name it.
Yeah, he lived in a really small village, Pahrump in Nevada, and I'm sure the transmitter and aerial were like in his backyard or like really close to his house.
Yeah. I don't know if any of you guys ever seen it's a YouTuber. It's called the Y-Files.
No.
Seen? Nope. Interesting YouTube channel.
I think I have. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one that has Hecklefish. He has a little fish in the bowl.
Oh
I've watched that. Yeah,
very well produced, very, very well done. The guy's a pro, you can tell. But he does stuff like that. Well, if you ever watch his channel and you look up in the corner, there's a picture of Art Bell behind him on the bulletin board, and there's some QSL cards up there. The guy never talks about people, but he goes down that that rabbit hole as well.
Mm.
But
Lewis, do you get on HF much? I know you are licensed. How much operating do you do?
So I've got an ICOM 7300 here, and the PTT on this microphone has never been pressed. So yeah, I listen. I listen more than I talk. I should talk. I've got a long wire down the garden, which is good for sort of. For 20, 40, and 80 meters, but I've just not done it yet. You can probably count the amount of times I spoke on HF on one hand.
So, are you a full license holder?
No, I'm a foundation license, but my thing is mainly VHF and UHF, and the challenge. I mean, where I live, there's quite a lot of hilltops, so it's good to go to the hilltops and make some contacts and do some QRP and. Yeah, those bands behave in really interesting ways under certain conditions. So yeah, I bought the 7300 to sort of test the water with HF, but ended up going down the number station rabbit hole. So it's all gone wrong.
But it's a great receiver as well, though. So.
It's a brilliant receiver, yeah. Yeah, but the microphone's never been used yet.
But speaking about VHF, UHF, I know I've seen a little bit about the 145 Alive thing in the UK, and we're going to have Tim on in a couple of weeks to talk about that.
Yeah.
Are you involved in that, Luis?
No, I haven't been. I'm sure Tim mentioned it when he started, but I was away on holiday, so I've never been involved in it since. I mean, there's loads of things like SOTA and all that sort of stuff, but I'm no good at planning. I prefer to just wake up and get a radio and go. So yeah, I should get involved. Tim's a great guy, and it's a really good idea, and I think he's had some success. One thing I sort of spearheaded here was the PMR 446, which is again another portion of UHF that just behaves in weird and wonderful ways sometimes. So a lot of people who can't or don't want to get the amateur radio license, we sort of rolled out the PMR 446 net, which for those who don't know is like a license-free band, and there's a net every Sunday. In fact, it'll be on now every Sunday night, and we around the Manchester area there's always sort of 30-40 stations on, and a lot of those people we have a Facebook group where we encourage them to get the amateur radio license as well. So that's one of the things I've been involved in. But yeah, the 145 Alive I haven't done.
But that is awesome though, having just a net on PMR, because most people's impression of PMR is as kids playing around with the radios.
Yeah, and you sort of there's. I mean, I sort of rolled it out, set up the group, and then I took a back seat. But the people on there have really sort of the etiquette and the operation has really sort of moved on as they go through the weeks. And then on the Facebook group, there's lots of people who have gone on to get the amateur radio license and things like that. So yeah, it's all radio, and if it helps people go into the amateur radio hobby, then even better. So yeah,
exactly. And it is a way for people to kind of learn how propagation and RF works.
Yeah, and they can see if they like radio, and a lot of people have sort of mic shyness, so it's a good way to go on anonymously and test the water that way, and they'll either decide that radio isn't for them or radio is. And yeah.
Exactly. And we got a question from Jeff here, if PMR is similar to the US GMRS, and it's not. It's similar to the FRS.
Yeah.
PMR is in the 446 megahertz range. 16 channels, maximum half a watt.
Yeah, and then GMRS is, I think, 5 watts. There's repeaters. You have to have a license as well, and that's around 465 megahertz, I think.
Yeah, and GMRS is up to 50 watts, isn't it, DeWalt?
Yeah, I believe it's 50. I don't know. Like you said, that's the part of radio that I do improve on. I'm such an HF-centered guy, and I spend all my time in HF. My knowledge of VHF, anything above the 6 meter band, I'm an idiot. I really need to learn more. I really do. That's where I'm like my weakness. That's why I'm friends with you guys. You know what I mean? You guys can teach me everything I need to know.
Yeah. And I mean, you could just get a 2 meter, 70 centimeter rig in your car, though.
Yeah.
That's a good start. That's a good start.
I'm here without glasses, so I figured I can see everything now too.
So there are 5 of us. That's amazing. Lewis, PMR in the UK, are you allowed to use external antennas, or is that a built-in antenna only?
Yeah, they changed the rules where you could use an external antenna, but without an AIRP of 0.5 watts. So it's still a grey area for people that don't know a lot about radio. I mean, to be honest, a lot of people on there use more than the half a watt, but a lot of people still use the half a watt. But it's still a great still a great
half a watt is plenty if you have a well placed antenna, I think.
So from hilltop to hilltop, I've done 60 miles on half a watt, from hilltop to hilltop with line of sight, because the earth is so flat. You can really easy. That's going to be caught and posted everywhere now.
Yeah, and I guess the most used PMR radio probably looks like this in the UK as well.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
But just one moment, I'll find a PMR radio so I can show you our North American viewers what a PMR radio looks like.
I should have known. I have ordered many from YouTube. They're never used.
Yeah,
like there you go.
Pretty much like this.
Yeah.
Hey, comment now too. Everybody's going to say, "See, Lewis is he's a flat earther. I knew it all along." You know?
Yeah, I'm not a flat earther. I'll say that.
I love it when you post the comments like on social media that you get, and it's therapeutic to read those. It makes me feel so good.
Yeah, I get some really horrible comments because I say the Earth is round or 5G.
How dare you?
Yeah. Here's a PMR, another PMR set as well. Oh yes, so these are.
Is that actually a PMR handset?
This is actually a PMR set with a removable aerial. So
yeah, I guess that's a benefit for not being in the EU anymore, that you can remove the antennas from your PMR radios.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start that discussion. That could be fun.
No, we're going to do that right here.
I made a commitment. I made a commitment a long time ago. I'm not going to talk any UK politics to any of my friends in the UK as long as they promise not to talk any US American politics back to me. I'll leave that to you guys.
That's probably a good idea. That's probably a good idea. We learned on when I got my license on the course, there was talk about etiquette and things like that, and basically we were told that you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about religion on the air. That's just don't do it. It's not smart.
I have family members and some friends, in the UK that have on my social media page have commented, back when we had a different president and like just hammering down and whatever. And I said, you got enough problems over there to worry about than what's going on in the United States.
I still want to comment on that, but I'm not going to do it on air. So
I had a comment on YouTube recently. I think I posted an older video where I think I'd done 30 miles on some handheld, and some guy said, "Oh, there's no way you do 30 miles on that. This guy must be a Trump supporter as well." And how does based on what?
I can contribute a German saying. Wer im Glashaus sitzt, soll nicht mit Steinen werfen. So who is sitting in the glasshouse shouldn't throw stones.
Yeah, we have that in Norwegian as well. So
yeah, we do. We do.
Yeah, that's just the way things are now. Especially people are so quick to comment.
Yeah, and social media makes it so easy to not see behind the comments and see the person behind it. And there might actually, even though you disagree on a lot of things, there might be a lot of common ground nonetheless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But being mean on social media is just so easy, right?
Yeah.
It really works. It makes me mad when people make it personal, though, about appearance, accents. Lewis, I've seen you get beat up over a Manchester accent. My wife and I are watching your videos, and my wife's like, "He sounds so proper. He sounds like a perfect announcer." And then you look in the comments, that Manc accent. I'm like, man, what is wrong with people?
So I'll get a comment. I had one comment saying, "Oh, why don't you get your girlfriend to do the voiceover because your voice is awful?" And then I get a lot of people saying I couldn't understand you because of the Cockney accent. I'm not from London.
but I want to rewind a little bit here. You said you and your wife watched the YouTube videos together, Walt. What's the secret on making that happen?
Oh, my wife is interested in radios. Yeah, I think if I could get her past the fear of learning and taking the test, she would probably get her license. But my wife and I've been married for almost 40 years. We've always, she got it from me, but I've always been a hobbyist, and we listen to radio, and I just got her into listening to I've got a lot of little, the Reticus, the little portable radios or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're gone, man. She gets them and listens to them. She enjoys radio and listening to radio a lot. She wants awesome. She wants, like I said, that's why I want to get her in a video. Like I said, we're going to do the instant pile-up buster. I'm going to let her go, Kilo 4, Oscar, go for Oscar. And we're going
well, just do that again.
Kilo 4, Oscar, golf, Oscar.
Yeah, maybe that would help me get through some pileups as well if I had a voice like that. But
Well, you don't need your wife. You've just done it. The voice is perfect.
so I'll have you, Walt. I'll have you record the voice cue on my 7300 later on, and I'll be busting pileups.
Anytime, Morton. You got it.
Oh dear. Okay.
So
Since we've all descended in the lower depths, I can also share my only connection with pirate radio. I think everybody in Germany knows that very, very bad 80s movie.
let's see if I can make
Bump up the volume.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
No.
This is called Piratensender Power Play, and it's a very, very bad German comedy, but it's so bad that it's already funny again, yeah? And it has, stellar rating, 5.0 on IMDb. And yeah, that was, I mean, the story is basically, two guys, operate a pirate radio, and I think there's a summary here. And they're being basically chased by police and the Bavarian Broadcast Company, and you can really think of all the bad things you think about German comedies is in there, including the dressing up as women, like here. So that
I'll make it big again there.
So that the policemen don't find out that this is actually the truck where the pirate transmitter is installed, right? So I mean, if you really want to have a good laugh, you can maybe I don't know if it's available with subtitles, but maybe.
Yeah, but my daughter's doing German in school, so perhaps I should find that movie.
So that is my contribution to
but that
pirate.
Actually sounds best as women will be used. That'll be me and Walt when we get busted over here.
That is an interesting YouTube video. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, but I kind of love
like an episode of Hello, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, let's say that once.
But I kind of lost my train of thought here.
Yeah.
But
mission accomplished.
I think by that script though, it sounds eerily like a Norwegian movie from the 80s as well. So that might
Which one is that?
Piratene, translated the pirates. No.
Maybe they sold it and they remade it in Norwegian.
Yeah.
It could be. But, as long as we're talking about movies and pirate radio, pump up the volume. Christian Slater. I seem to recall I enjoyed that. I like Christian Slater, so that might be why. But that's from the 1990. That's also about pirate radio. If you haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, that's a great. Have you guys seen the one about the Radio Haraki, the New Zealand pirate ship? I can't remember the name of the movie, man. That's a great. Lewis, you got to watch that movie.
I'll look at that. Yeah. It's really it's less of a comedy and a true story. It's a New Zealand story. It was basically the same principle as Radio Caroline. Offshore they went offshore and broadcast as pirates. It's almost the same story, but it's a true story. Radio Haraki. I can't remember the name of the movie. I'll have to look it up. New Zealand pirates, but we
didn't need to do that though, because the UK did all of that work with the pirate stations for us. We could still receive the same stations.
I was getting ready to reply to Steve there too. He said I'm rocking the England jersey. Hey, the Lionesses are playing. They're one game away from the Women's World Cup Finals, and a lot of people. Some people know this about me, but not all. I'm only a second generation American. My father's family's English, so it's in the blood here. You know what I mean? It's the roots.
So, and there's also some talk. William talks in the chat here about, talks about the Weird Al Yankovic movie, UHF. And that's also a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Suffolk Mushroom said I think Laser 558 was a pirate station on the ship. Yeah, I've got some tapes somewhere from those stations.
So and I mean the UK's got a rich pirate radio tradition. No
Yeah.
matter how you look upon it.
I'm actually working with somebody at the moment on a documentary about a ship-based pirate from the UK. So, yeah,
I think some of the material that you've collected at some point should end up in a museum. I think because it's a fairly substantial part of English history.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I look out. I collect a lot of like the tapes and newsletters because the people find them in attics and they'd bin them otherwise. So I think I've got about 200 tapes now that are collecting dust, but at least it's preserved. It's like radio history, isn't it? So
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
That movie, I looked it up. It's called 1480 Radio Pirates.
Right.
Okay.
Make a note.
Let me see if I can find that here and share it for the viewers.
2014. It was 2014. It's a great movie. True story.
Let's see, 1480 Radio Pirates. Yeah, I got it here on. I'm just going to share my screen. And let's see here. And it seemed to also be called 3 Mile Limit.
Yeah, it may be different. Yeah, great. That was a really good movie. True story, not as much of trying to be a comedy, but more or less trying to, a little bit of drama, trying to tell the true story of the whole thing.
Oh,
yeah,
it's quite interesting. Yeah,
I'll have to look up on that and see if I can find it streaming somewhere.
I think you can if you have a subscription, you can stream that off Pirate Bay.
Does Pirate Bay actually exist anymore?
I don't know. I'm using something else, but I'm not allowed to say what it is. So I just substitute the term Pirate Bay.
We'll have that discussion later on, Bob.
We will.
Yeah. So let's see
where we're the good old days.
Movies and pirate radio. We kind of changed the subject.
Okay, so now I completely derailed the chat. Should we go back to pirate number stations?
And there's a question in Germany here for you, Tobias.
I'm just having some fun. They in that bad movie I mentioned, they were also doing fake advertising, and they were really quite funny. I'm not sure if I can translate ad hoc, but word plays and making fun of the official advertising at the time and just changing the names and things like that. So the movie is bad but fun. That's what I'm trying to say.
And I see, as usual, we're closing in on the hour mark, so I guess it's time to somewhat try and wrap up this show, which went a lot further sideways than we usually do.
So everything as expected then.
Well, yeah,
yes.
Everything as Lewis is so diversified in his channel, so we had to go.
Yeah,
right. We have to spread out a bit. Yeah,
yeah.
What Walt's trying to say is it's my fault.
But Tobias, any ham radio plans for?
Plans for next week. I still have 2 days off because there's a public holiday on Tuesday, and then I'm back in the day job. So let's see how much spare time I have for ham radio. Maybe I should do a second video about the power supplies, comparing the switching with the linear power supply, because people seem to have liked that video. So one commenter suggested I hook up a scope and look at the noise that it creates. So how much more noisier is the switched one compared to the linear and so on. So maybe I have a start with that one.
But in that regards, I gotta ask this because I've always heard that switching power supplies create a lot more noise than linear ones, but I can't hear the difference. What are your experiences?
Then you have properly made switching power supplies. Improperly made switching power supplies are awful.
Actually, I have linear power supplies, both of them under my or 3 of them right at the moment. So, but I can't have really. I haven't seen the difference when I've used switching power supply. So, but that would be interesting to see, though, Tobias.
Yeah, and maybe I can also, open it up and we have a peek inside because they look quite different, obviously.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see how that works.
And Lewis, what are your plans? What's coming up on your channel in the next coming
You see,
week?
I'm in a place where I don't know what video to do next. So I'm working on a couple of radio and railway related videos at the moment, and then more police stuff. And yeah, I'm not sure. I need to pull something out of the bag tomorrow. I'm working on a few things, but nothing's finished. So tomorrow's going to be a difficult day.
So yeah, and I see Nathan comments on that 1480 movie. So I guess he's pretty right on that comment. Pirating a pirate radio movie might be the thing to do. Let's see, Bob. Any more mountains to climb up? Any more parks to activate?
Certainly hope there's going to be some more mountains. I'm not sure what there are yet. I have the 10-meter net on Tuesday and the 2-meter sideband net on Thursday. Other than that, there are really no other plans except for your ham radio thing on Sunday.
Yeah,
and I have to sit down and create some slides apparently for that. That's really not something I look forward to. But I think I shall manage. And other than that, I think we spoke last week about the expedition to the island in the Mediterranean. And I'm not sure if I gave you the right island. The island I'm talking about is Sardinia. They have plenty of really, really nice mountains that seem fairly accessible. So I'm on the way down the rabbit hole to plan a trip there. And it's probably not going to be for December because I can't find anything supporting that they actually have a bonus period. So I'm probably going to go in November, spend a week down there.
Bob, and now we're... Yeah, go ahead, Louis.
I was just going to say, Bob, when you were in Cyprus, where did you work from? Was it Troodos?
There was 2 parks on the area, parks, which are around Nissi Beach, if you're familiar. Yeah. So yeah, nice. I have pictures. I'm going to create a blog post, which is what I do, but I'm really bad at doing it in a timely fashion. So they will show up eventually.
And yeah, but I mean, we all know how your impulse control works. So the moment you find some plane tickets to Sardinia, you're probably going to get going, aren't you?
I have to get some time off work to do that for a week, so I'm going to have to plan it. But yeah, I think in November, sometimes November, I'm going to go down there for a week and see if I can get 2 10-pointers a day. That would be a nice boost to towards my mountain goat status.
Absolutely. And how far along are you on getting the mountain goat?
Oh, I'm fairly, let's see, I have 160 total, and I've been to 2 mountains that I haven't uploaded, so 164 then probably. And a mountain goat is, of course, 1,000.
Yeah, but I don't know of any people that do less or do more summits than you do, actually. So you should be going there pretty soon.
There are quite a few in Norway. I think I'm a 4th or 5th this year so far. So.
Yeah, but you're the one that talks the most about it, though.
could be.
Walt, any plans for the coming week?
Man, I tell you, it's been so hot here. I know I sound like a broken record, but it's been hard to get out. I've got 4 or 5 different things I want to do and do a video on. I have that new Zygo X6100. I haven't taken it portable yet. Obviously, haven't taken my FT891 out portable yet. 2 brand new radios. I got a lot of stuff that I want to do. I'm kind of waiting for it to cool down. What I'm thinking about doing this week, though, I've done it once before, is driving up to the top of a car park, like up on the 6th or 7th top floor. And because we have them at the beaches here, they're right by the beach, and we have one actually right here by my house that kind of overlooks the harbor. I'm thinking about doing a little bit of like a static mobile portable at the very top of the garage, as we want to say, anyway, with an antenna, out off the wheel or whatever, and maybe operating portable that way. Maybe QRP with my X6100. Kind of had that in mind, maybe, because the weather's just been so miserable here as far as the heat. It's kind of hard to sit out there for an hour in the sun beaming down on you, and it's just crazy. So I'm ready for fall to get here. I'm ready for some of that Manchester weather. I want to see it gloomy
It's
and
been
rainy.
fall here for 2 months, Walt, so you'd be fine here.
Yeah, you can have my 10 degrees anytime, Walt.
Yeah. I'm ready for it to cool down a little bit. It really is. This is honestly, July and August here where I'm at in the States is not everyone here is going to the beach. You can't get on the beach because the beaches are packed with people. You know what I mean? So operating ham radio portable there is kind of out of the question. So it's not really for portable operations, not the best time of the year for me. So do a lot here in the house and just have fun with it. You know, I'm not the guy that does a video every 3 or 4 days just to get a video out. I haven't done one now coming up on a week. It'd probably be 8-9 days before I get the one out after the one by that. And I just told myself I'm not going to stress about it. You know what I mean? I'm not getting rich, and I'm not doing this for a living. I'm just having fun with it. So
exactly.
I want to get something out there and start doing things, but I'm not doing it for just to do it. You know, I'm not. You know, I that's it for me. I did get first time a rather large manufacturer that I actually want to review has sent me something to review. It's an antenna, so I'm looking forward to that. I want to get out and do that right, but I don't want to just do it real quick and do it for the sake of doing it. I really want to digest and study and use this antenna that I've received. So it'll be my first video ever with the little thing in the corner that says includes a paid promotion or whatever in it. So that is coming up. I always said I wouldn't do that unless I really believed in the product, and I think this is one that I'm looking forward to doing. But anyway,
yeah, I'm looking forward to your review there. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I'm looking forward to it. So, and then it's me. I'm putting on a ham fest next Sunday, which is kind of scary to do on my own. But I got a great keynote speaker over there, so he's hopefully going to help.
It's the keynote now.
It's the only talk, so that automatically makes it the keynote.
Damn it!
Yeah, no pressure, Bob.
Besides that, I got a pretty full week of work, but I really want to dive into the different kind of firmware, unofficial firmware for this radio, the Quansheng UV-K5. And I bought this radio, got it a couple of days ago, a little bit late to the game, so I want to do something on it, but I'm not really sure how to make a spin that no one has made on it before. So we'll see how that works out. Besides that, perhaps do a video on doing a twofer for Parks in the Air, since I now have the possibility of twofers in a lot of my nearby parks. And I guess that's my plans. The Hamfest is going to be my main priority hobby-wise, and my second priority work-wise, since this is actually part of what I do for a living. So that's what I'll be doing. It's probably not going to be. I got a couple of videos lined up, but I guess that's it. So, and we're pretty much on the hour mark, actually. Not having Kjetil here helped us a little bit.
That was mean.
That was not. It sounded a lot better inside my head. Nathan says tried underwater. And speaking of that there is a video coming out about a waterproof radio this week, but it's not this radio. I don't think that would survive underwater. So you'll just have to look for that. I think that's dropping on Tuesday, if I can remember that correctly. I got a couple of videos lined up, but I guess that's it for now. Thanks, Louis, for being on. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been good fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
And on that note, 7-3.
Bye, guys. Have a great week.
Everybody.